Gallophone and Anglophone. So this is the politics of language. Something else completely different. All right? Like this, running around playing silly buggers with tartans, it's part of who we are. Like I said, it's part of our identifiers. Annie Ganesh becomes a tartan circus for a week in July. Halifax has Highland Games. Well, it doesn't anymore, but that's another story. I mean, Fredericton, this goes on around the world, all right? And of course, I mean, in the case of here, specifically in Annie Ganesh, I mean, the fact is that you had a community that actually survived, that was distinct because of its language. Everywhere else was similar. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate some of the, I guess I'm not going to say vitriol, but some of the, I guess the strength to the message. My message, we're reversed, and of course, because we're really addressing two issues. There is no reason that the Gallophone societies should not play with the Scotophile societies. Scotophile being those who love Scottish things. So, and you know, and of course, because we are part of the same family, and this is the way I look at it. I earnestly believe this. And Lewis's message on family, if you replace the word Gaelic with Scottish, in my community, it means the same thing. It's all about family and connection and music and transmission. It's about a joy and expressiveness of a culture of which we are very, very proud. And it's not to say that, you know, it's like somehow we're a bunch of shysters who just appropriated culture. We didn't do that. It's our culture. These are our symbols. It's just that one part of the community doesn't embrace it. And it doesn't have to. I mean, it's not about an elitist, you know, it's not about, you know, middle-class aspirations for, you know, for nostalgia. That has nothing to do with it. I mean, I can speak your language. I have my degree in history as well. So, but my point is really on the surface, if you don't want to belong to it, don't belong to it. If you do want to belong to it, we'll sell you memberships. And the Gaels have just as much right to be there as anyone else. And I guess when I heard message, and I probably misspoke myself about the Highland Games, it's not the only way. It's the most expressive way to actually broadcast that message to the general public. We already know what we're doing. You already know what you were doing. You already know what you were doing. But that's how we transmit, because we have to be seen as positive and also inclusive of others. Because there are those members of our community. When I say that 31% of Nova Scotians are of Scottish descent, well, it's not like they all belong to societies, not like they're all taking Gaelic classes. They're just not. But we need to go out and let them know that we are here, and we want them to be as proud of who they are as we are. So, and I'm going to finish on that note, because really, it's supposed to be fun. And the second it stops fun, you should probably just go home.
Lewis wants to have a point of order.
Would you accept that it's a Gaeliphone and not a Gallophone?
I will. I will take the Gaeliphone.
Okay, Irene, you have the last word of this.
Well, I suppose with regards to the Annie Ganesh Highland Society and societies like it, the issue is, do we accept what the audiences have said that they like and continue to allow that piece to grow and take these opportunities to increase Gaelic speaking opportunities or you know, more immersion type of opportunities during those weekends. I see when you go travel the websites that a lot of Highland societies are having their version of a Highland Games with some kind of a Celtic cultural experience. So maybe a Celtic festival is attached to that. So it's kind of a looser, more generic look at Scottish culture. And then there are more intensive opportunities to do things like they're doing in Pictou County with the immersion days, 3 and 4 days at a time, where you can do everything from practice an artisan type of rug hooking to language to I think there's 12 choices that you have there, playing the borin, you know, there's all kinds of these types of opportunities. As they increase interest, maybe there'll be more students attending St. FX taking Celtic studies. And the language school will be, you know, having more students attend at the Gaelic College and so on. I know that my son is in Gaelic here at the high school. He was one of the first group of kids that are starting to take Gaelic. That's been a wonderful experience for him, but one of the problems for that group of kids that have done that is that they had to stop taking French. And for those children who want to go into IB, pre-IB, it means that they're going to have a challenge with the French language in there. So there's choices all the time being made around language, and sometimes they're not clear. And I think that that was one that was not made clear locally for those children that, they weren't going to be able to have Gaelic as the second language in IB. So there's issues where we sometimes step out in front and make choices, and then we don't have the things to follow up with it in the background. The last point that I want to say is that when I use the word folk culture, I don't mean any disrespect by that, and I'm not talking about illiterate people. These are surviving people. We're here because of them. They're tenacious, they were smart, they had a wonderful storytelling sense. I can hear a tremendous story in English that's told by someone of Gaelic descent, and it doesn't sound like a story told anywhere else. And while it may not be the Gaelic language, it has a magic and it has an appeal that, it's just wonderful. And for those of you who haven't had a chance, there's archival footage that you can access of these stories. They're not all told in Gaelic, they're told in English, but they're told by Scots who have that tradition passed on to them. I hear it every time I hear the Rankins, I hear it every time I hear Celtic music. We have these threads, and whether or not we're not a people necessarily, but this culture has thrived for a lot of reasons. The homogeneous nature of where we live is one of them. The collaboration with the university, with the sisters, with various people that were able to put the time in to really allow this to grow and flourish. And that's something that, no matter what the academics say, there's something about it. And I may not be able to see it, I may not always be able to understand it, but it's in the air, I guess. And we're lucky that we get to breathe it here.